All right. So not only facing elimination, but facing, well, this is their qualification, hopes and dreams right now on the line here for F2K My Way. If they want to move up in the standings, they need to try to reverse this whole matchup here. And it all starts here. We're going to see a full freezing trap here by Kasu. And he is going to do a lot of damage here, actually. Rapid fire. Big damage. And that's what we're talking about right there.
Big shoot. Big shoot.
Hunter. Hunter, they gotta win early. You gotta respect the damage. They have a lot of burst, but once you trade, once the true shot is over, once you trade for the Kyrian wall hack thing, you're chilling. But they didn't respect the trade, and that's what happens.
How much? I don't actually know. How much damage is magical from hunters? Like, they have explosive. Is that magic damage? Maybe that's the thought process.
Damage, right?
They want.
There's more magic damage in survival. There's way more magic damage in survival.
Okay, well, obviously that worked out for them. I feel like that was just a big disrespect from Creed. They committed so many offensive cooldowns, and they could have traded the 45-second cooldown ethereal form and probably lived there, but...
I think it was Drainer. Yeah, he pops his images here, but he didn't... They don't heal. Like, watch this red image next to Drainer. I don't think he procced any healing images, so the statue is on himself. He doesn't have statue on the shaman. There's basically no buffer for Baka to really... have any sort of chance to react. That replay was so short, we're watching it again. Like, Drainer basically didn't heal Baka. Like, what? He doesn't put his statue on Baka, I'm pretty sure. He ends up putting it on himself.
With a statue healing either.
I mean, it would have gave him a little bit of time to react.
Yep.
He has no time to react.
Cooldowns.
He needs to trinket now.
In the game, dude.
Oh, he grounded instead of walling. That was weird.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say that as well. Like, after the stun
the trap
ends,
was over.
The stun is over on Baka and he grounds. He should just use the ethereal form. Like, if he's just spamming his wall in the stun, I'm pretty sure he can just ground the fear, Tremor the Fear, and just live without Drainer using anything.
All right, well, here we go. I mean, 5 seconds till the gates are open. This is looking like kind of a repeat of what we saw in the first series of the day, a turbo with a Paladin, and I feel like things can only go better for the Paladin than the Mistweaver Monk, in my personal experience, but we'll definitely have to see. One on blue right now. They're going to be playing a very aggressive. Ad Hoc Gaming as well. They really need to make something happen. They're actually going after Numliz, trying to test him. Fear on Loveless. Not going to be able to help out, but here comes the Bloodlust. Big damage on Cassidy. Immediate barrier forced to be traded there by Relza, and this turbo is not messing around.
Whoa! Numliz dropping to 1%, greeting the Divine Shield. Excellent stuff there by Numliz. He's going to be able to survive there barely, and he's going to be able to hold on to most of his cooldowns. He's got his wings active right now, and that was a big push there from the jungle, and that was the true shot here as well from the Hunter. And now Relza is already sitting down for a drink. Actually, he's getting mana as well. He actually is back to full mana here. So Relza looking for a drink basically after the first setup there. It's going to be very nice for him. And now, once again, Numliz here, the target of choice. They get a fear here onto Loveless. Here comes the Mind Games. Numliz quick to dispel those, though, and should be kind of okay right now. Still a lot of damage from Cassidy, but Numliz is able to brush that off. And now they're doing a bit of a healer race here. Zray going after Relza here, and so is Loveless. And the Priest definitely a little bit more scared in this situation than the Paladin said.
All right, healer race against Turbo. Not sure if that's going to go so hot here for the jungle. Relza in a Storm Bolt. Cassidy's going to need to support. Numliz is taking quite a beating. I love these psychic screams. Here comes the resonating arrow. Big hit on a Numliz. Numliz going to trinket out of the stun lock. Gets stunned on his trinket again, but not enough damage to take him down. Cassidy is just lobbing out regrowths, and they're dedicated to just Zug in game number 1. Which healer is going to be able to deal with the pain better than the other healer at this point? Numliz is charging in, stunning Relza. Cassidy supporting with tons of regrowths, and it's going to be very important for both the Shaman and Feral to toss in heals. Dispelled on his big heal and interrupted. Oh! Beautiful play here by Ad Hoc Gaming, but they get intercepted by Zray's intimidating shout across the board, totally shutting down what could have easily been a kill. Nice peel by Zray. Here comes the Chain Harvest, that big red laser beam of death. You know it's going to cause decimation across the board here. Cassidy trying to help out and stay aggressive on the Paladin. They are doing a lot of damage. Full stun lock. He bops out. That could get dispelled off. They dispel the Blessing of Protection. Cassidy reloads the bleeds. Relza's trying to escape with Door of Shadows, managing to get back behind the pillar. Numless is charging in, but he's on forbearance, has no medallion. Neither does his team. This is risky by Numless. Very risky. They're just going for it. Relza at 10%. Has pain suppression, doesn't trade. Double Psychic Scream. Relza gets interrupted on his door. Relza wants to just escape. I think he's running double Door of Shadows. Numless gets stunned up. They need to crowd control Loveless. They have to stop the Enhancement Shaman healing, but it doesn't look like they have it. Intervene comes in as well. And Numless is redirected damage to the Warrior instead. Cassidy roots up Numless. Relza is trying to escape, managing to get across the map again. Mana is even. That's definitely in favor of Ad Hoc, but they swap to Cassidy for a moment. He jumps into Bear Farm, trying to tank out the damage. Zray's in battle stance, has a sharpened blade, but we see a jump in Psychic Scream by Relza. Numless still looking like he's the target here, getting blasted down. Zray scattered, can't intervene, but Loveless supports with a couple of healing surges, and that's the main power of this composition, is that all three members can deny so much damage or heal each other back up that you need to crowd control basically the entire team.
I can't believe it. I've never seen a Holy Paladin do this. Numless is literally just W-walking at Relza the entire game. Finally, taking a little bit of safety here behind the pillar. Can they get the interrupt? They do. Resonating Arrow. Interrupt nicely done, but Cassidy in the meantime getting blasted as Relza looks to sit down for a drink to recover some mana. Does manage to do so. Now it's Numless in trouble once again in a full stun with the trap on Loveless. Beautiful cross crowd control. Numless could get dropped, but doesn't look like there will be a Mass Dispel. And win on blue, I get the feeling that Ad Hoc Gaming, they were looking good in this matchup. They need to make sure they survive, but a preemptive barrier from Relza. Ad Hoc Gaming is absolutely on fire.
Yeah, that was a really nice push there with the trap on Loveless and a stun onto Numless. But Numless has some options here as well. He's got his trinket rotated back up. He's got a Blessing of Protection. Loveless has his trinket as well. So still a lot of defense here and not that much pressure though from Win on Blue. I want to see them pressure Relza a little bit more so far. He's been doing a good job as well with those preemptive barriers. But here we go. This is a big push here coming in. And let's see, do they have anything to shut it down? Loveless gets scatter shot there while Relza was in that stun. Facile has been doing God's work so far this game. Let's see if they can set something up here. He's going for an aim shot here onto Numless. Numless here once again looking to stop Relza from drinking, and Relza actually getting a couple of more ticks now. He actually tanks a fear right there as well, so Loveless going to be sitting in that full fear. Numless now taking a lot of damage here from the resonating arrow. Cassidy throwing out a few preemptive heals here as well, and Numless still not out of the woods yet. Divine Protection is traded. He still has his Blessing of Protection. He has his Divine Favor, but it could get purged. He needs to be extremely careful here. His positioning still not the greatest, but he is able to keep himself alive for now. And now Cassidy actually taking a lot of damage here. Relza forced to finally drop a few Shadow Mans as we just enter dampening. And now Relza taking a lot of damage here, and he's using that grip legendary. Loveless chasing after him though with the Door of Shadows. And look at Zray as well, looking to teleport there. Zray actually getting kicked on his Door of Shadows, but he's just going to leap over. And now they're looking to lay down the law here. Numless still decently low here. Relza gets a big heal by Cassidy and is going to survive. Both of these healers really working on fumes here, Sid.
Yeah, this bop, if it gets dispelled, I think it's game over. Door of Shadows from Relza. He's playing a high mobility priest build and just trying to avoid the enemy attackers and buy time for his team to get aggressive here on a Numless. Double intimidating shot. Zray doors over. Full hammers down. Relza breaks out, fears the enhancement shaman, goes for mind games, gets sundered on it, goes for it again, gets wind shared. That might just be it. Chain Harvest connects. Rapture, Power Word shields are getting shredded. Cassidy comes in with some clutch double stun. Stampeding roars Relza across the map. I really like the mobility support that Ad Hoc Gaming are utilizing here in game number one, but it may all not be for naught. Numless is running out of cooldowns though. He's overextended. His mana is critically low. If they can get some damage out here, when is that resonating arrow available? They could just finish the game. They stun up Numless. Aim shot. Relza escapes back to midfield with the leap of faith. Loveless pops Bloodlust while he's rooted. A little bit peculiar, not getting too much value here. Interrupted on his Door of Shadows. They need to prevent Zray and Loveless from getting back to Relza. They've got this. They disorienting Roy. They trap the Shaman. Beautiful crowd control. Relza manages to restabilize. He's sitting on pain suppression. He can trade that during the stun lock. They hold on to it for now. Are they actually going to pull it off? Avenging Wrath on 30% health. Can they take out Numless? They managed to restabilize. Cassidy's trying to heal up Relza. This game is definitely ending almost in the immediate future. 0 mana on both sides. Relza totally tapped. Pain suppression trades. Cassidy tries to support. Resonating Arrow comes down from Facile to try and block them away and close the game out. Huge explosive shot, ferocious bite, and Ad Hoc Gaming take game one.
What a weird game that was. I don't know. I feel like, is that the right strat for the Turbo to pull off? Like, just chase the Priest? One thing's for sure, Ad Hoc Gaming, they were ready for it. I feel like they played that game extremely well, and it still came down to just the last moments of the game. So obviously this is a really difficult matchup for them, but they came prepared, and they managed to hold on, pulling off a very impressive Game 1 victory.
I do want to say that Numliz also, if he wants to play a more safer strategy, he can do that. Not something we've seen him do so far in this matchup, but on this map, he might be forced to kind of just play a bit further behind and then just try to keep Loveless alive. Big damage coming out onto Facile here. They purged the big powered shield right there, and they get good opening pressure here. Loveless as well now with the Ascendance here, forces out the powered shield, or the powered barrier right there, and now you can see everybody on Ad Hoc already stacking up here. Loveless still taking a lot of damage. Facile dropping dangerously low right there. He has a shield, and he has that Feign Death as well, the legendary from that, but it's not going to be too much to work with. Numliz in a Cyclone, and finally the pressure here is going to slow down a little bit for Win on Blue. No, they're going to be swapping over to Relza, landing one interrupt, looking for another interrupt here. They actually let him get those Shadowlands off because they do cost that much mana. You get a stun trap here onto Numliz. Loveless in a lot of trouble, but they have the damage. Resonating Arrow is active, but it doesn't look like Loveless is going to be in too much trouble right there as he takes a big chunk of damage. Numliz going to be responding there with the sacrifice, and that should be a safe situation for them. Numliz could be a swap target right now, but I would say so far for Win on Blue, they've been able to trade effectively. Their mana's looking good, and they are still on target here.
They're trying to go after him. Zray's in a trap. Relz is just getting smashed by Loveless. They stun Loveless. They trap the Paladin. Mixing it up, going after the Shaman. Interesting strategy adaptation here by Ad Hoc, but they are getting devastated in damage. Relz is trying to escape with the Door of Shadows. Now Cassidy and Facile basically need to 2 versus 3. They need to avoid damage and try and crowd control them. Maybe just kill them? I mean, killing them is great. You'll drink the full if they're dead. Loveless and Zray are taking huge pressure there, but intervene, redirecting it to Zray. They're still chopping him up. I think Relza got a tiny bit of mana amidst all of that chaos as well, but they are finally closing in on top of the Priest. Relza jumps the jump of Loveless, and it looks like Loveless is actually running Feral Lunge this time around to try and get a little bit of extra mobility, but that's just it. He doesn't have the defense available running that mobility build on the Enhancement Shaman, and gets absolutely erased. Ad Hoc Gaming looking good on their jungle.
He's stuck and susceptible to Divine Toll. He's just throwing away Ice Block all willy-nilly. Like he's playing.
Yeah, I have
he's
to
playing no
agree.
Battle Masters. Also, keep that in mind. No Battle Masters. So the greediest mage. I need to punish him for sure.
I want that chef hat.
Did you see the little dance he did?
Yeah, he's excited. Oh, he's taunting them.
Yeah.
Actually, you can't transmog that chef hat.
You can?
You cannot, no.
Come on, that needs to be patched in right now.
There's also, what are they called? Like those things that you roll over like the dough, you know?
Whoa.
To make it flat?
The rollers? I think it's just called
Rolling
a roller.
pin?
Oh, rolling
Oh, yeah,
pin.
rolling. Yeah,
Ben's got
exactly.
it.
No, you can't transmog those either. I wanted to make a baker transmog when we had a bakery near Van. But yeah, anyway. Back to the game here.
All right, Prof sees the target. Once again, they're ignoring Maro. Oh, a reflect on a polymorph. Nicely done. Frosty has to use Dispersion. The map's already paying dividends here for the Retribution Paladin Warriors. They can get a ton of crowd control out and pressure on target in this particular matchup. And I'm wondering if Mystics changed his build at all, as he was running a very aggressive damage build in game number 1. And it looks like he's actually decided to drop the Vengeance Aura, going back for the Lawbringer, getting more % health, but he's low on health. Mind Games being cast, a Master Spell preempting the bubble, not finding it. Mystic is just going to bubble. He's afraid of the combustion, doesn't want to get erased, and this is way higher pressure than we've seen in previous weeks of this matchup. I feel like this was a much slower game in the past, but the damage output on both sides is quite high.
I'm just genuinely confused. I feel like Lontar should be playing Gladiator's Medallion. Like, he should be playing a Trinket to get out of crowd control. Frosty right now gets interrupted. Sacrifice does trade. Mystic right now is just dead. I don't know why. I feel like Lontar is literally throwing the game by not having the Medallion, because it's just one less cooldown they have to rotate through. Polymorph, Divine Shield. Polymorph, win the game. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this choice. I feel like skill cap to you, these wins they're getting, they're being given these wins. I mean, they're playing great, but at the same time, I really do feel like this team is kind of fumbling here in this series. We're gonna have to wait and see. I mean, it should be interesting. I was really impressed with Skill Cap to You and their Shadow Priest Mage on Friday, so we'll see if they can go toe-to-toe here with Zuniaki and Thasia. I have to believe that they will be able to, but we will see. Right away, we see a silence on Thasia, a disarm on Chaz. Looks like Thasia is the target of choice as he uses Soul Shape to get away just for a moment. Back to the pillar, back to Chaz, back to safety, then manages to recover without really trading out too many cooldowns there. And it looks like both these teams are stable. Morrow kind of pushing into an aggressive position. He wants to find crowd control on Chaz, but you can see Chaz just out of line of sight. Ore Mastery comes in. I like that aggressive Ore Mastery, allowing Morrow to potentially find a Polymorph, but Chaz just easily avoids it with line of sight. Thasia's still in some trouble here using his Trinket, as well as his Shadow Meld and the Kleptomania Spellsteal to avoid Morrow's damage. He gets topped off, and both these teams looking pretty evenly matched right now, but it is Skill Cap to You who looks to get aggressive first. Now a counterattack coming in from Method EU onto Morrow, but with a great positioning, Asgarath really in no danger of crowd control, and should be able to easily heal up Morrow through this damage.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to have no problems here. Both of these mages trying to reset their combustions right now. And we do see a setup here happening onto Morrow. No crowd control onto Asgarath, though. He's got that Divine Favor here. And Morrow is in a defensive position. So he should be able to get that off and top Morrow. And he will be able to do just that. Now, Thasia almost having his combustion ready here significantly earlier than Morrow. Morrow actually going to be resetting his with the shifting power now as well. Both mages just spamming out the fireballs. Zuni trying to bait out a Dispel here. Oh, nice Dispel into Counterspell onto Chaz right there. And that means that Chaz is going to be locked. Thasia are going to be forced to blink back. Asgarath is actually going to sit down for a drink here and immediately capitalize on the fact that Thasia was forced to blink back. And now he's going to have a little bit of a mana lead here. But I do believe Chaz should have an equal opportunity to sneak away and drink as well. And here comes the setup. There's the disarm onto Asgarath, silence onto Morrow. Where's the damage though? Zuniaki getting counterspelled, so he's not going to be able to push in really here and get anything going. Asgarath with the Divine Favor gets another big heal onto Morrow, and he's going to be able to stabilize him. And at any point here, Zuniaki actually taking a decent amount of damage as well. Needs to be very careful. Activates the Fade, goes for the Master Spell, he gets it off. Chaz gets the Dispel on the Hammer of Justice, but he does CC himself there. Chaz actually forced to Trinket as a result because they had to Trinket that Horror effect. Can they get something onto Asgarath now? They get a full sheep here. Master Spell on Prophecy. No, he's going to get that off. And that means Asgarath is actually going to get repollied here, though. Prophecy's still taking a little bit of damage, and all of a sudden it's turning into a little bit of a Shadow Priest race. And I'm not sure if it was actually worth trading Chaz's Trinket there instead of Zuniaki's Dispersion, since they have been hitting the mages mainly so far. But now there's some openings here onto Chaz as well.
There's a lot of valuable cooldowns like Power Infusion and Combustion that both teams need to try and protect. At the moment, Thasia's going with Combustion while Morrow is interrupted, but did it ultimately get Kleptomania. Now Morrow has Combustion available. If they can cover Thasia and Zuniaki, they're powering down Zuni here. Well, they died through Dispersion on 10%, managing to stay alive. Really clean setup there, interrupting Thasia and then pushing through onto Zuniaki, getting all of his defensive cooldowns. Asgarath now in a Polymorph, though. Can Method EU cross crowd control? Stun on the Mage. They're going after Prophecy. Void form from Zuniaki. Prophecy going to fade, wrap around the corner here, try and catch some Shadow Mends, and completely heal himself to full. I would imagine he is running the Shadow Mend Legendary as he is. Is Zuniaki also running this out of curiosity? No. So Prophecy is opting for a defensive Legendary, whereas Zuniaki is opting for the double Power Infusion. In this mirror matchup with no Mortal Strike, it basically means that anytime Prophecy gets attacked or anyone in his team gets attacked, he'll have a Shadow Mend that is basically a lay on hands. It's going to do a tremendous amount of healing. I'm interested to see how that difference plays out in the mirror. At the moment, Morrow getting targeted down, and it seems like the Mage is more of a focus still for Method EU, whereas Skill Cap to You are going after Zuniaki. So slight differences in build, slight differences in targeting. At the moment, Asgarath ahead on mana a minute before dampening.
Yeah, interesting. Also, I mean, some differences between Morrow and Thasia. Thasia's playing short combustion, so he's playing the Kindling build. He's also playing Incanter's Flow, which is something you don't really see too much from mages. It's more of like the passive intellect throughout the game, as opposed to the Rune of Power, which is that heavy-hitting rune that drops down when you use your combustion. So his combustions are going to be up more often, but a little bit weaker. Morrow opting for the Meteor, so just small differences in these builds. Let's see how it exactly works out for both of these mages. Disarm on Asgarath, another setup here on the Prophecy. Vampiric Embrace, maybe enough healing. He's getting low, dangerously low. Save with the Light does proc Asgarath with big Divine Toll. managing to completely top him off. Morrow now with a look for a double Dragon's Breath on Zuniaki and Thasia, trying to get in a position to get a Polymorph on Chaz. Immediately counterspelled there by Thasia, denying that setup, and now Morrow is deep behind enemy waters. Let's see if he can get punished for that, or it looks like they're just going to be going after the Shadow Priest in this matchup. Frosty gets mind-controlled into the eye. Nice play there by Zuniaki, increasing the damage Frosty takes, and that's going to be a dispersion as a result. I really like that play there by Zuniaki.
Very nice setting it up with a mind control. But now Tessia actually pre-alter times right now, so he's going to be in a perfect situation here. And Frosty, they're going after Chaz. Big swap here onto Chaz, forcing out his trinket. He does get the dispel onto the mind games. Asgrath is still there, looking like he wants to get something up. But Frosty now in a lot of trouble. Asgrath might have gotten a little bit too aggressive. They didn't have any follow-up CC. Doesn't look like it here. And Frosty is going to be able to survive here. If they can get a Ring of Frost, they get a sheep, but it's overlapped with the Ring of Frost. Frosty gets feared. He doesn't have dispersion here. This could be the trinket sacrifice from Asgrath, and it will be Chaz now in a polymorph. Chaz was potentially the target earlier, so they might want to look to swap to him. Both of these paladins in this matchup are definitely good targets. If you can get a fear into a Hammer of Justice or something like that, you can see that happen. And here we go. Big swap onto Chaz. That's going to be a big meteor hit there from Morrow. They get the re-follow up there with the Psychic Horror, and now they're swapping over onto Asgrath here as well, trying to force the Divine Shield as well, but one big heal connects there from Frosty, and that means that Asgrath will get to keep his Divine Shield, whereas Chaz had to use his Divine Shield. And Chaz right now, he has no trinket and no Divine Shield. If Frosty can Door of Shadows on top of Chaz, fear him, they can set up a kill condition onto Chaz. They have all of the cards that they need. If they can get any crowd control onto Chaz to set up from, then they can just win the game here. Mario's looking for the poly, but not able to find it here. Nice shutdowns from Tessia, and once again, Frosty is going to be the target, but now he has his dispersion here. Asgrath pushing in here. Now they're looking for the CC here. Can they get the Chaz? There it is. There's the Psychic Screamer we're talking about. Big damage coming in. Frosty gets his dots here. Chaz in a polymorph. Where is the setup, though? Tessia is the one actually taking the damage in this exchange. They're going to resheep Chaz here. Honestly, a bit of a wasted opportunity. I would have loved to see them go after Chaz there. Could have been a big KO moment.
Unfortunate, they're going to miss out on that window. Now they could be in trouble as they're pressuring Asgrath out in midfield. He's going to have to Divine Shield, right? There's no way. 1 second left on it. Into the Dragon's Breath. He's holding on to it. Saved by the light. They tried to go for an all-in play, and they don't net the kill there. Definitely a cheeky opportunity to utilize mind control and your own Blessing of Protection. Blessing of Protection gets no value in the matchup other than getting forbearance onto your opposing paladin. So there's definitely a lot of unique lines of play between both of these teams. Right now, they're currently going after each other's paladins. Asgrath targeted down again here in a Psychic Horror Silence, and they're pushing for it. They're going to outright going to kill him. Method EU moved to match point, and this is not looking comfortable for Skill Cap to you.
We're already well into this game here. Game number 2 on Hook Point.
All right, let's see what they can get done here on their map choice. They've been able to win on their map choice, but it's still pretty tense for them. And moving for the rest of the series, what are their big map selections going to be? I'm curious to see. But regardless, they're charging in at Morrow, using Avatar to get out of Frost Nova, KOing here with huge damage right off the bat. They're trying to punish that adaptation pick on Morrow. Trying to utilize that trinkets to get out of more hexes means that he'll sit Stormbolts. So it's an interesting tactic by Kawana Gaming to try and punish this. Now they switch back to Frosty. Tana using Fleshcraft and Spiritwalker's Grace to immune interrupts and immune crowd control at the same time. That's a nice combo you can do as a Restoration Shaman. However, ultimately caught in a Psychic Scream stun on Kara. This could be devastating. Kara is going to respect it here and trinket, trading the Shield of Vengeance. Nerd Rage going to intervene and then pop down by the sword as Marv switches over to him. Tana still polymorphed at the moment. Nerd Rage still taking a lot of damage even despite the dab of the sword. Mind Games coming in with a Shadow Crash from Frosty off to the side. 2 targets low on health. Tana into a 1 second poly, but Frosty gets feared. Unlikely that we see too much pressure here as they are now going after Morrow. Morrow Vulpin shapeshifts back to midfield, but there's the freedom from Kara, stunning Asgrath. Morrow going to get pulled to the side. Frosty mass dispels the hammer. Beautiful Shadow Priest play here, getting his whole team out into safety. And now, but ultimately they do reconnect. Morrow drops a Ring of Frost. He gets interrupted into a Stormbolt. Big combo of damage. Wake of Ashes cracks through, but a Blessing Protection from Asgrath denies the kill. Now Kara in trouble, low on health. Going to proc that Reign of Ancient Kings Legendary, reduce some damage. Tana doesn't feel comfortable though, and opts to use the Trinket and the Spirit Link. But Combustion's coming up. They could just swap to Tana and absolutely take him out here if he's not careful.
Yeah, he's really going to have to watch out for that moment, but I really like the fact that they're punishing Morrow and this adaptation choice, and playing Night Elf. So those Storm Bolts are going to be absolutely devastating if they continue to just throw them on Morrow, hit him with the Divine Toll. That could be a Cauterize, hit him with the Divine Toll. That could be an Ice Block. That could be, the end of the game. So the consistent setups eventually paying off, but the combustion coming in. Kara's in so much trouble. Divine Shield going to be forced out. Morrow, of course, is playing that Kindling build, so really, really quick on his combustion recess, just having it up consistently in this match. I like the fact that Quanta Gaming, they are mixing it up, going after the mage, just something different. They have to try something different to get a different result, and I at least like this adaptation. But Quanta Gaming, I would say, is still just, they're getting closer and closer to just, being totally behind on cooldowns that burn through the Divine Shield. Kara luckily has his trinket rotating back up, so he's going to have to be on point using that immediately if he wants to survive this next setup.
Yeah, and we're going to see here Nerd Rage is kind of the meat shield for the team right now. He's going to be the one who's kind of the most overextended, and Kara as well as Tana are just going to be staying behind here, looking for some heals, and the mana is somewhat even here between the two healers, but that's also because Tana is using a lot of purges so far in the matchup. Let's see what they can get done here. Hammer of Justice onto Asgraf. They're going for a little bit of a swap strategy here. He's trying to build up as much pressure as possible, trying to make sure that Asgraf keeps healing here, and now Nerd Rage is going to go after Morrow here for a little bit, see what he can get done there. He gets caught up in a Nova, but he is Nova'd in an Earthen Wall Totem, so not the worst situation for him. He's going to have a lot of defense. He's staying on the edge of that and not really choosing to go out of it, and he's going to attack Prophecy, who's also on the edge of it right now, and Kara just kind of playing a ranged ret here, like a secondary healer almost. Let's see Morrow blinking in. He gets the Polymorph. Big damage coming in onto Nerd Rage. There's a combustion being popped here from Morrow. Nerd Rage is going to leap back now and attack Morrow, and he's going to fear Morrow actually. Defensively, Kara's just going to keep himself alive. Nice Hex here coming out onto Morrow. Morrow playing that adaptation means that it's going to be very scripted when he can trinket and when he cannot trinket. Now, this is the situation we're talking about. If everyone stays on this pillar, Asgraf can go and drink here, so somebody has to go out and apply pressure. That someone is going to be Nerd Rage here, and you can see Kawana Gaming now looking to get a little bit of pressure onto the Shadow Priest and keep the momentum going. But Kara again taking a lot of damage, and that was his proc legendary actually procced right there.
All right, let's see if they can get an opening here. Morrow sitting Hex after Hex. That adaptation not going to get value here in this one. Kara proccing and Avenging Wrath. Nice Earth Grab Totem on the Shadow Fiend here. A minor play, but it's a big amount of damage, and unfortunately it's connected. No Divine Shield. Tana and a Silence. Sanctuary from Kara. Barely clutching it out in time here, but Combustion is available for Morrow. He could turn this around, but big Divine Toll from Kara. Chasing down Morrow. Morrow on the run in that Vulpin, getting stunned up by Nerd Rage. Kara going to connect as well. War Stomp out of the stun lock. Big heals coming from Asgraf. Morrow repositions, and this is where the Stallion versus the Camel comes into play. Will Asgraf's mana be able to maintain throughout this race in game number 2? So far, a lead is established on Tana. Kara trying to stop Asgraf from drinking. Hitting him there, realizing that is a win condition, but he overextends a bit to stop it and isn't able to connect to Morrow, and Nerd Rage is left out in midfield, and I think Asgrat just slipped away again to try and sit down for another sip of water here at the watering hole, managing to get a couple of ticks, and every time he gets a tick, I mean, it's putting his team in a good position. Morrow stunned up, big heal comes in, skill cap DU looking to recover with Divine Favor, and both teams looking even on hook point, but that's not what you want when it's your map selection for the side of Kawana Gaming.
I mean, definitely not. Let's see what they can do. Kara in a lot of trouble. This could be the Divine Shield Polymorph on Tana. Kara all alone by himself. Spirit Link Totem trades. They managed to hold on to that Divine Shield. But that was Trinket and Spirit Link. Now Kara still, if they get Divine Shield here, this is an absolute disaster. It's too many cooldowns. The full fear goes out. The Sanctuary, Kara able to free him from that crowd control. Finally getting some heals. 8% dampening at this point in the game. Things unraveling here for the side of Kawana Gaming. Definitely don't want to be losing this one. They'll be down on their map pick. This is their best map with this composition. Now Morrow getting a little low. This is Combustion. Sacrifice trades from Asgrat to keep Morrow aggressive during that combustion. But Kawana Gaming stabilized. They make a swap potentially. No, they're actually not. It's just all sacrifice damage here on Asgarath, burning through a lot of his mana. And at this point, Kawana Gaming, they have the mana lead. They need to hold on. If they can get the Divine Shield, it would be big. Nerd Rage charges over with a Storm Bolt, trying to fully capitalize on that sacrifice damage. Unfortunately, not able to. Kara may have overstayed his welcome here in the open. He trinkets out of the Psychic Core, does not want to overlap, catches a big heal from Tana. They managed just to hold on, but just slowly these cooldowns are getting burned through, and Koana Gaming is increasingly more and more in trouble.
Yeah, and they are able. Oh, Mario here trying to trade his ice block for a drink. Ascraft was able to get 1 or 2 ticks there, and let's see if they can punish that though and force out the ice block here. Doesn't look like it. Mario doing an excellent job so far, kiting with that Night Fae. Ascraft is still sitting down for a drink out of the Hammer of Justice, but they do get the block as a trade, and now they fear up Ascraft here. If they can get some pressure onto Mario, Ascraft's gonna have to burn through that mana that he just got. But he's like, oh, there it is. Conrad is gonna trigger here for Mario. The seed is gonna trigger for Mario as well, and this is what happens.
I think it's living.
Can they keep the seed alive? No way. Mario combust, and he's gonna force the bubble, and through a miracle, he is gonna be alive right there. Get the bubble, get the Divine Shield, get the die by the sword as well, and they have the mana lead now as well. This was a massive momentum swing, but Mario has no defense available. That next Avenging Wrath could be massive for Kara if he survives. I don't think he will. He's getting chopped up with the mind games, and I mean, this just goes to show Team Night Fae.
This is why I'm not Venthyr. This is why I'm not Venthyr anymore. That game is the perfect example. Mario gets deleted. He gets put into a seed. They manage to keep the seed alive, and then immediately it's combustion. They get the Divine Shield, and then just moments after that, they're able to win the game. That's got to be frustrating for Koana Gaming, but for Skill Cap to you, they're going to be happy to take it. Up 2-0 now on their worst map, and this is just looking really good for them in this series.